Tuesday. Welcome to Inside Sports Talk with your host Joanna Rosselli. I am joined today by my amazing co-host Ed Cole. How are you today?
Joanna, good evening. It's good to talk sports with you again.
You sound like so formal.
Well, I'm in a formal kind of mood, but you know what? It's championship week, so championship week kind of brings that out, the formal kind of side of me as we get ready for what should be two great championship games this weekend. I'm excited to see who goes to the Super Bowl. I'm sure we'll talk about that later, though.
Oh, yes, indeed. We'll bring you lots of NFL talk of what happened over the weekend, what's about to happen, about to go down. This upcoming weekend, it's Championship Sunday, a few days away, and the breaking news of the week, James Harden broke up with Houston Rockets. He got what he wanted, and he has finally joined the Brooklyn Nets. And just in time, PLR, to talk hoops. You're in. How's it going?
Yeah, it took a second. What's going down?
Oh, it's a lot going down.
What's happening, Pops?
Man, that's my hero down there. Boy, when I grow up, I want to be just like Ed Cole.
No.
Man,
he doesn't know what to say.
He's a man, boy. As I'm telling you, you try walking in that man's footsteps, you won't be able to do it. He ain't no joke. Just like Eric B. and Rakim said, I ain't no joke.
Let's get right into it. You've joined us at the perfect time as we kick off the show talking NBA and some basketball hoops, which is your favorite PLR. And we have the breaking news of the week with Harden going to the Nets. So give me your insight, give me your feels about this. How are you feeling? Could it have been any better? Could things have gone better? Anything that could have been done differently?
Okay, so yes, I don't like the trade. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know you're pairing three superstars together, but here's the difference. When KD joined the Warriors, you had different guys that had different expertise. You know, Draymond ran point just as much as Steph did. Steph can free flow and move without the ball probably better than anybody in the NBA. Clay is the best catch and shoot guy that's ever laced him up. So KD could do his thing. You know, there was an old quote that people looked at first and thought there'd be problems because they asked Klay Thompson, with KD coming here, your game is going to have to change. He said, I ain't changing, SHBB. And people are like, oh, there's already a rift. It wasn't a rift. He didn't have to change his game because you had to double someone. And you're probably not going to double a spot-up shooter. That one, he doesn't have the ball, so you can't double him. And when you have KD on the court with Steph, there's going to be nights where Clay's just going to eat ridiculously, like bounce the ball 12 times and score 61 points. It's different in Brooklyn. And before I even get to that, they had a supporting cast. They had, on that first championship, they had Matt Barnes, they had Livingston, they had a bunch of Iguodala, they had a bunch of dudes just that knew their role and knew how to play ball. In Jersey, James Harden is on ball. Kyrie is on ball. Joe Harris is going to be kind of out at the three-point line going, dude, I'm out here. You traded away Jarrett Allen, and he's your backup center. You don't even have another center on the roster. Karis LeVert was your guy off the bench. You don't have anyone off the bench. Spencer Dinwiddie is still hurt. So you traded away so many assets, and you're asking James Harden to go back into sacrifice mode once Kyrie joins, and you're asking Kyrie to go into sacrifice mode, and you're asking KD to go into sacrifice mode. I mean, superstars figure it out, but I think their bench is ridiculously weaker, and I don't think anybody has roles defined. So will they be good? Yeah, I think they probably could win a championship next year But I think without training camp, with this COVID double running around like crazy, and the fact they have no bench, I don't think this is a trade for this year. And everybody is already putting them up there with the Lakers. It's not even close, to be honest with you, in my opinion. So I understand why they pull the strings, but I don't like it for the right now.
I agree. Whenever Kyrie comes back, we'll see how this chemistry thing, we always use that word chemistry, PLR and Joe, how that's going to work in. Kyrie's already missed 7 games. So whenever he decides to come back and get back into this thing, and we'll see how it works out with Harden and him and KD. But the last time I checked, Paul, there's only one basketball to go around. And how's that going to work when you've got 3 alpha males that want the ball in clutch situations? They want the ball at all times, and there's only one ball to go around, and only one guy can shoot at one time. How's that going to work? You think they can work those 3 together in that chemistry, and Steve Nash and his coaching staff can get these guys together on the same page on one goal to win a championship for Brooklyn?
Well, here's a big kicker out of all of it. Whenever one ball doesn't worry me in terms of having a bunch of talent, because even though as a team I've never been fond of the Detroit Pistons, there was one ball. And think about the guys they had: Isaiah, Dumars, Mark Aguirre, Bill Laimbeer, Benny Johnson off the bench. Everyone wanted touches, but everyone on that team sacrificed. They knew the head of the snake was Isaiah, and then you fed off of him. What I don't know about this team yet is who is the head of the snake, because the head of the snake takes charge. Do you remember KD's last year in with the Golden State Warriors, and Steph was hurt, and there was that altercation between Draymond and KD, and there was a road trip, and on that road trip, Steph wasn't traveling at first, but after that altercation, Steph started traveling with the team. He was the head of the snake. He was the guy that could keep everyone together and keep everyone on pace. My question is that KD, who sometimes get upset and lashes out on Twitter at regular people? Is it James Harden, who dribbles a lot? Is it Kyrie, who's AWOL and wasn't that kind of leader in Boston? Every team has to have a head of the snake. We know who it is in LA with the Lakers. We know who it is, even though they took another bad loss tonight in Phoenix. We know who it is in Milwaukee. Who is the head of that snake? And see, those are roles that get defined when you go through a training camp and you've played together. They've got to figure this out on the fly. And so the number of basketballs don't bother me, because remember, in Golden State, KD averaged, 26, 27. Steph averaged 24, 25. Clay, 19, 20. Draymond at 10. So I'm not worried about the shots, because KD is one of the most efficient scorers. He can get you 30 on 12 shots. It's who's going to step down a little bit so the next man can rise up, and who's going to direct that, and who's going to lead that. And that can't come from the coach. That has to come from the players. And I'm anxious to see which player does that in that situation.
Yeah, well, you would think that Kevin Durant would have, clearly he has that experience being with Golden State those years. He has that experience in making those sacrifices like you talked about, Paul, and, kind of stepping back a little bit for the cause, to try to win a championship, to try to bring a world title to Brooklyn, New York. That would be great. And James Harden, we'll see if he's willing to say, okay, Kyrie, it's on you right now. I'm gonna go ahead and dribble, but I'm gonna kick it to you, or I'm gonna look for KD, or I'm gonna look for Joe Harris. I'm gonna look for whoever. And I know my numbers may take a dip, but in the end, all we're all about is this ring and getting this championship. But we won't see who the head of the snake is until at least a third of the snake actually shows up on the court and those guys start to play together.
And I think that's the whole key. And like I said, KD is the one dude I don't worry about, because he's efficient. He'll get 30 on 12 shots. I'm not worried about that. What I'm thinking is one, let's just tackle the big problem right now, the elephant in the room. And I hate to use that phrase. James Harden ain't even in shape. I mean, he's putting up numbers, but he's not even really in basketball shape. If you look at him, he looks like Kendrick Perkins in the uniform right now. So he's got to get in that type of shape to get through the season. See, what people don't understand is these dudes are so gifted. To get to that level that James Harden and KD and Kyrie are, they are ridiculously gifted. But what you got to worry about is Harden is playing with weight that he's never played with. That doesn't get you in game 10. That starts eating your knees around game 50 and 60 if that doesn't come down. So let's see how committed they all are. I mean, look, you said KD knew how to win. Hell, Kyrie knew how to win by playing with LeBron. But the experiment in Boston went awry. So I don't think it's just a matter of knowing how to play with someone. I think it's a matter of how do we make that ultimate sacrifice, because there's three of us, for the ultimate goal. I think that's the key. And do we have enough supporting cast to get us through? Because someone else is going to get injured. Someone else is going to come down with COVID. Something else is going to happen. What's going to happen when all that happens?
Yes, and you do make a good point there. So it's just a matter of finding out where, what's going to happen and see what the outcome of it all is. But talk about commitment and what just happened a couple of days ago with Luka. He has passed Michael Jordan on the all-time triple-double list. He's at 29, and this is just his third season in. He's tied right now with Grant Hill at number 15. So we all know how talented Luka is, and his career is just getting started. Just to see what he's been able to accomplish so far, and what more is left for him to accomplish, especially at such a young age.
I think it's great. It shows his talent and his maturity at such a young age in his third season to have almost 31 triple doubles. That's incredible. And you just look at the list. The next guy, I guess the next active guy he would pass is Ben Simmons. And then Rajon Rondo is after that. James Harden's got 47. So he's number 8 on the all-time triple doubles list. So at this rate, Luka's probably going to get, how many do you think he'll get this season, Paul? At least 40 or more.
He should. He's probably good for another 10, 11.
Yeah. So he may get close to 50.
Yeah,
that's amazing. But yeah, what an accomplishment for that young man to just come in and take the league by storm like he has in Dallas. That's great. Triple doubles are great, but championships are even better.
And they're not going to win a title.
No, not in the Western Conference. No,
and even in the Eastern Conference, they're not better than Milwaukee. They lost to the Bulls. They lost to the Bulls last night. Look, Porzingis. They're not ready. They're a team with a really good player, a decent number 2, and an okay 3, and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Hardaway, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Lakers have 2 of the top 5 players in the league on their team that play well off each other. They're not beating him. Y'all seen Anthony Davis play? They ain't beating him. That dude's unguardable.
Anthony's pretty good. He's pretty good.
That dude is unguardable.
Yes. And the other guy, he's pretty unguardable too.
But I mean, he's one of the all-time greats. I'm saying there's certain guys in the league, and I know everyone says, oh, well, NBA players can't be guarded. But there are certain dudes I don't care who you put on them. You can't guard AD, can't guard Kevin Durant. When James Harden is hitting step backs, he's unguardable. You can't guard Steph Curry when he can hit shots from half court.
You can't guard KD.
Yeah, like I said, KD, AD, James Harden, Steph. There's certain guys you can't guard. You got to make it tough and hope they're off.